Greetings, my name is Chamomile, and this is an exploration of the entire galaxy sector by sector. Today, we're talking about the Belderone Sector of the 12th Cerulean Spear Command. Dandrian is a planet which calls themselves the Crossroads of the Galaxy, because they are liars. Every sector has hundreds of tiny planets with a population of less than 1 million, and Dandrian is one of those, but I found their self-granted title to be sufficiently wrong as to be worth mentioning. This sector is also home to the gambling worlds Galsol and Bradkiss, and it's not too far away from the Wheel over in Maldrude Sector. I don't know what it is about this part of the Prelemian trade route, but casinos love to operate here. Ord Marsax is one of the Ordnance Depot planets that the early Republic established. Back in the day, hyperspace travel took weeks or even months, which means it was important to have planets with just massive reserves of weapons, ammo, and rations where your fleets could refuel and rearm without having to spend 6 weeks retreating back to the core. Ord Marsax was the staging area for the Crusade of the Wilds, a campaign into what was then wild space, undertaken when the early Republic was having a religious phase and liked to call all their military campaigns crusades. The early Crusades targeted the Hutt Empire, but the Crusade of the Wilds was a military exploration expedition that both scouted out new territory and attacked anyone who looked at the Republic funny. What, did you think the Imperial era was the first time the Republic turned evil? The Crusade of the Wilds was less mask-off about it than some of the later ones, overly militarized but not outright murderous, but it was normalizing the idea of crusades against pretty arbitrary targets, and that precedent got used for outright genocides in a lot of the trailing crusades that followed. According to legend, Belderone Sector is home to the four-armed Ichthydonian species? Anyway, these guys allegedly make for excellent bartenders. I'm pretty sure whoever originated these movies was thinking of the basilisks, and might literally be deriving all of this from seeing Dexter Jettster in a Papanoida movie. Another legend says that the Jedi ditched a Sith holocron in the oceans of the obscure planet Kodai, hoping that leaving the holocron in the middle of a mostly uncharted ocean on an underpopulated world would defend it far better than any Jedi vault. Belderone Sector was also home to planet Lola Sayu, where the Republic built a prison for holding Dark Jedi, which the CIS repurposed to hold regular Jedi captured in the Clone Wars. The planet remained a separatist holdout even after the surrender of the CIS and had to be taken by force by the 12th Cerulean Spear. Without the backup of the rest of the Tion cluster and surrounding sectors, it went down quickly despite having resisted Republic invasion for months up to that point. Lola Sayu is not to be confused with Tiems, a minor world with a population of about 20 million that is also located in the Belderone Sector, where several thousand rebel prisoners were held in a major prison in Tiems City. Tiems wasn't even primarily a prison planet, and to the extent that prison break is notable at all, it is mainly because the Rebel Alliance extraction was botched, so the rescue force and the rearmed prisoners were forced to fight off the Imperial Army garrison for about 36 hours, which they did using some clever maneuvers. Belderone is a rarity in the galaxy, a sector actually named after its most important planet. Belderone is one of several major shipyards built along the Prelemian trade route, and was the primary stronghold standing between Republic forces and the CIS core in the Tion cluster. The Republic struggled against Belderone and tried several routes around it, but other CIS strongholds at Felucia and Ossus stopped them in their tracks on the flanks, just the same as Belderone on the front. While most of the CIS were on their last legs by the time of the assassination of the Separatist Council on Mustafar, the capital in the Tion cluster was still pretty well fortified and had a decent buffer around it. By that point in the Clone Wars, the CIS had been cut into at least 4 different pieces, each one effectively a fully separate nation fighting the same enemy, but with no ability to reinforce one another. In most parts of the galaxy, the capitals of these fragments were already under siege when the Separatist Council was killed, and the Imperial mop-up operations overran what was left of the CIS forces in places like Siskine and Megiddo. Republic-turned Imperial forces were barely even on the outskirts of the Tion cluster, though, and CIS forces there could have tried to maintain the old CIS plan of fighting until an exhausted Republic agreed to hand over control of some part of the galaxy, just revising that plan down to a smaller part of the galaxy. With such a small amount of territory for the CIS, though, it would only be a matter of time before the Republic rested and came back for round 2, now with a big enough material advantage to be guaranteed victory. Plus, Palpatine was no longer accountable to the public and had no intention of settling for anything less than total control of the entire galaxy.